Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. Many things to get to this morning. So last week there was a star-studded Biden fundraiser, 3 presidents there, lots of celebrities, and also a whole lot of protesters. So we will share that with you. We also have new audio of a congressman who literally suggested to his constituents that Gaza should be nuked. Definitely want to hear that. We also have an exodus of John Fetterman communication staffers, so can only guess why they may be leaving his office at this point. Some explosive leaks from the Daily Wire revealing the circumstances surrounding Candace Owens' firing. A lot to say about that, as Ben Shapiro's been doing the rounds, doing some interviews and pretending not to talk about this, but really also talking about it. So anyway, lots of breakdown there. We've got some new updates for you on that bridge collapse and whether other bridges around the country may also be at risk. The U.S. shipping more bunker buster bombs to Israel in the midst of all sorts of horrors unfolding there. And Morning Joe sitting quietly by as the keffiyeh scarf is compared to a swastika. So many things to say about all of this.
Yes, that's right. Before we get to that, though, as a reminder, we have some major upgrades coming to our premium service, and there's going to be a lot of fun new features. So sign up at breakingpoints.com. You're going to want to take advantage now so you can be the first to find out, and you can get the rollout and all of that. So we've got the discount that continues, breakingpoints.com, if you want to take advantage. But as we mentioned, there was a blockbuster event in the city of New York. 3 presidents, current President Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, all appearing together at a major glitzy, star-studded fundraiser in New York City. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. A record-breaking fundraiser. They are calling it some $25 million for the Biden re-election campaign. And it was supposed to be, Krystal, it was supposed to be one of those really amazing events where the party comes together, they raised a ton of money. Stephen Colbert, who hosts a news program, an entertainment program, bizarrely is interviewing these gentlemen that are on the stage. But very, very quickly, things devolved and showed some of the major fractures within the Democratic Party, including President Obama, President Obama snapping back at protesters. We have some video from the event just so you can get a little bit taste of what it looked like. If we can go ahead and play that, please. So you can see these 3, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, all answering questions, probably hard-quitting questions, of course, from Stephen Colbert. What they didn't want you to see, though, were the protesters that were interrupting the event, both inside the venue and outside the venue. President Obama, in particular, taking great exception to one of these people. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. They said that the fundraiser was interrupted multiple times by protesters, and Obama snapped at one of them. He says, Krystal, you can't just talk, that you have to listen. And these people don't really want to listen. And we saw some of that in particular outside of the venue with some of the protesters that were yelling at many of those who were coming in. One in particular saying that they will never vote for Biden and they better enjoy Trump. Let's take a listen to that.
How much money did you give Joe Biden? Not paying for dead babies. Enjoy Trump. We're never voting for Biden.
So there you go, Krystal. It was supposed to be like a major event, and instead Obama's freaking out. They got interrupted at least 5 to 6 times. Nobody actually knows. There were multiple videos, people being let out in handcuffs, and they were screaming, prompting a good old-fashioned Obama scolding, something that we haven't seen in American politics in quite some time. And I think this just illustrates that you can try all you want. You know, he can't even go to a college campus, but even at his own fundraiser, where people were buying, what $1,000 tickets and all this crazy stuff with Stephen Colbert, they cannot control outbreak of outrage, in particular amongst a lot of the people who previously supported President Biden. A lot of this over the Israel policy right now.
Yeah, well, you'll recall that they went to great lengths to try to make sure that protesters could not get into this event. That included by lifting the price of admission, thinking that, oh, well, the protesters perhaps won't have the money to be able to get inside. There were reports that they were using a third-party organization in an attempt to vet everyone who would be in the building. This is where the Democratic Party is right now. I think it was Dr. Trita Parsi and probably many others on Twitter who pointed out, listen, this is just a little taste of what the DNC is going to look like.
Yes, that's a great point.
Because you also had the police in New York who were going to great lengths to keep the protesters far away from this. Happened at Radio City Music Hall. But there was some great footage, including the part that we just showed, of these rich liberals walking onto these fundraisers. And, you know, I'm sure they think of themselves as very progressive, great humanitarians, et cetera. and having to be confronted with these protesters who are saying, you're literally supporting someone who's aiding and abetting a genocide. Like, how can you live with yourself? What about these kids who are being massacred by the thousands? What about them? And so to see them have to walk through this gauntlet of protesters, listen, does it in the end make a difference? I have no idea. We know that this administration has felt enough pressure from the poll numbers and the protesters and the uncommitted vote, et cetera, to at least rhetorically change. It was a, sort of watershed rhetorical shift when Chuck Schumer had to give that speech saying that the Netanyahu government is one of the key obstacles to peace and calling for a new government. And as Professor Norman Finkelstein points out as well, having to actually rebut and deal with the charge that Israel is itself a settler colonial state. Now, previously, those kind of comments would just be dismissed as anti-Semitism. Now they're having to actually grapple with and address those sorts of questions. So there's no doubt there's been a huge Overton window shift. There's no doubt they have felt some sort of pressure. And it's incredibly heartening to me that they know they can't go anywhere without having to face these types of questions. With regards to Obama, and as you put it, his scolding or his lecture to the protester that was there. There's a account on Twitter by the handle Dr. Hannah Ryan, who claims to have been this protester. She says, I was this protester, Obama. I'm listening to the UN, the International Criminal Court, testimony from the Palestinian journalists and civilians inside Gaza enduring a genocide. The question is, why aren't you? And I think that's very well said. Or you could listen to the overwhelming majority of the Democratic base who is disgusted with what they see unfolding before their eyes. So, when you contrast the images that came out of this fundraiser with all of these celebrities, we're going to show you a little bit of Lizzo and Stephen Colbert, which, as a digression, how sad that Stephen Colbert, who once had the stones to stand next to George W. Bush at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and really give him hell right there, was now chosen, and again, from reporting before the event, because he was seen as a quote-unquote safe pick. Yeah. And they were right, by the way, but how sad. But the contrast in those images of this star-studded, glitzy fundraiser filled with all of these wealthy people who could afford the very high ticket price, and the images that are coming out of Gaza, of the slaughter that this administration has fully enabled and backed and continues to this day, I think that is truly going to be one of the sort of enduring images of this horrible thing that we have watched all unfold since October 7th.
What's also interesting is just to see, as you said, visually what it looks like for these Biden individuals. Go play this please video of Karine Jean-Pierre, actually, we can play next, who was walking through the streets of New York, thought that she was about to come into contact with a fan, and then quickly had to do a little bit of an about face. Let's watch it.
Hey, Karine! Hey, Karine! Why are you supporting Biden's genocide in Gaza? Hey, Karine! Karine, why do you support genocide in Gaza? When will you call for permanent ceasefire? You and the entire Biden administration!
Having a rough time there in the city of New York. At the same time, there was a fourth president who actually was also in the city. Let's put this up there on the screen. This is important, I think, just to demonstrate where what some of the political fallout from this is looking like, because Trump was actually attending the wake of a slain New York City police officer, calling for law and order, quote, to show contrast with Biden by attending that funeral. The side-by-side contrast, Krystal, was supposed to be one designed by the Biden administration to show unity, to show them raising a bunch of money, and instead they were interrupted, pell-mell at their event. All of the headlines that came out of the event were not positive for Joe Biden. They were definitely negative. And at the same time, you have here a Trump, who's now consolidated the Republican Party, not going to erase any of the problems that he has there on his own, but electorally, he's trying to show more of a consolidated party, return to some of the roots of the original 2016 campaign. And if you can exploit some of the divisions in the Democratic Party, some of the problems there on the other side, we do see how this is becoming a major general election story.
The Biden team has clearly realized they have a problem with regard to the base of the party, especially with young people when it comes to their, the bear hug of Netanyahu approach. So they've tried to message their way out of it. It's not going to work. And we can already see the direction that they're going to move in, which is not to actually change the policy, as we're going to talk about later. They just shipped more 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs as they're out there claiming that they have issues with the way that this war is being prosecuted, as they're out there claiming that they're upset about a potential invasion into Rafah, but there's zero change in terms of policy. So they're quickly going to realize that attempting to message their way out of this problem is not going to work. And so we already see a shift towards what their plan B is, which is forget these young people, screw them, we're going to smear and dismiss them like we usually do. And instead, we're going to try to court the Nikki Haley voter. We're going to try to peel off some of these, remaining suburban Republicans. And I think that's going to be the game plan. Do I think it will work? Maybe.
It's possible.
It's possible. Yeah, right. I do think that, I do think Trump's got a lot of issues. I think the more that his legal troubles are in the news, I do think it's actually a problem for him. The more that he's in the news, right? He benefits from when the media actually doesn't cover him as much, because people sort of look at the past era through rose-colored glasses and they forget some of the things that they really hated about him when he was president of the United States. The more he was out there on Easter making these completely unhinged, posts on Truth Social. I think he posted like 70 times. I mean, it was insanity, right?
Yes.
And the one that was actually like the Happy Easter one was just all caps, complete derangement. The more people are reminded of that, the more of a chance hey, screw the young people, we're just going to pick up the Nikki Haley voters has a chance of success. But boy, do they run a major risk. And that's, putting obviously the morality and the ethics of all of this aside.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's a major risk electorally. And I think for Trump, if he can get more headlines like this for the contrast, I did see it covered at least in some of the media, and less about whatever his Happy Easter, even to the haters, the judges, it's like a meme now at this point, even though it is real. This is capturing headlines also in many ways, in particular with some of the celebrity fallout. This is a particularly hilarious one. We can go ahead and play some of the video of this. Lizzo, despite being, accused of, let's just say misconduct, I think, with some of her dancers.
There was a banana and female genitalia involved in the accusation. I'm just going to leave it at that. And also fat shaming, which, kind of ironic given her positioning as a celebrity.
That's right. So she was there, she was performing, she was going off the hook, but then afterwards put out the most narcissistic post possible. Let's put this up there, please, on the screen. She just says, "I am getting tired of putting up with being dragged by everyone in my life and on the internet. All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be better than how I found it. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. I'm constantly up against lies being told about me for clout and views, being the butt of joke every single time because of how I look, my character being picked apart by people who don't know me and disrespecting my name. I didn't sign up for this shit. I quit." Actually, you did sign up for this, Lizzo.
Thank you. That's exactly right.
No, you did. Okay, there's one thing to be an artist. I think even then, when you reach the level of like household name fame, yeah, you did sign up for this. But two, you're the one who chose to perform in a political fundraiser, okay? It's like, when people go into, Kid Rock or what are these people who, Ted Nugent, people who support Trump, fine. They got into the political game. They're a major household name. They know what they're doing. You help raise money for Biden? No shit. You actually did sign up for this, 100%. You agreed to do it. You made yourself household name. You made yourself world famous and all of that. So don't be surprised if people criticize you for performing at an event like this. And you just, either didn't do the research or don't know enough to know that this is going to be controversial, even within the circles that she runs in.
There's so much about this that just pisses me off. First of all, her trying to say, "Oh, I'm being picked apart because of the way I look." This has nothing to do with the way you look, and everything to do with, number one, the allegations that we just mentioned, and number two, the fact that a majority of Biden voters think that this man is assisting in a genocide. And there you are raising money for it, and you're supposed to be Little Miss Peace and Love in the world. Give us all a break. Second of all, as you're pointing out, Saagar, it's not just that she is a celebrity and, set out to become a celebrity, but she intentionally positioned herself in this provocative lane.
That's right.
So you don't get to go out there and, look, fine, be who you are and whatever, but don't be shocked when people have something to say about it. we don't go out there and when we get a mean tweet or whatever, like, I didn't sign up for this. Actually, we did.
Yeah,
actually, we did, which is why we don't go around crying about it, because it comes with the terrain. And you know what? We're incredibly lucky to be here and have this platform. And if it comes with that, so be it. We all knew that going in as big boys and girls. So if you want to rage quit, go ahead, Lizzo. Yes. And then the other thing about this is the Democratic Party. Like, what can you even say? You know, these people supposedly have all these principles. Like, how can you take them seriously about anything? And how do they not know that, you know, inviting this woman who at this point has all kinds of baggage, and the biggest one being that the accusations are she's just a complete hypocrite.
Yes, that's really what it is.
All of her body positivity is bullshit, according to a number of her dancers. She was fat shaming them, etc., which again just makes you the biggest hypocrite on the planet, creating a toxic work environment to say the least. And I do encourage you to go back and read the specifics.
We did a segment on it.
We did. You can go watch it. And I don't want to relive all of that here, but you know, you're going to invite this person in when you're supposedly, oh, I care so much about women. It's a Give me a break, please.
Yes,
just
point.
A perfect emblem of how out of touch and bizarre all of these individuals are.
That's right. Culture of narcissism at its absolute finest. So anyway, let's just say the event, it didn't go well for basically every single person that was involved. So anyway, I hope the money was worth it, Mr.
And
Bobby.
God bless these protesters who hound them everywhere they go. I hope they keep it up. That look on Karine Jean-Pierre's face when she went from the giant grin of, I've been recognized by one of my fans, to realization, oh no, this is not a fan. This person has something to say to you. Like I said, is it making a difference? I have no idea, but I hope they keep it up. And, you know, as I said before, just a taste of, I think, what the DNC is going to look like, where they're going to have much less control over who's there, who's in the room, who's outside of the room. There's going to be overwhelming media coverage. So
great point. Yeah, no, DNC is going to be a lot of fun. By the way, stay tuned for that too, in terms of our coverage.
We got some plans.
That's going to be fun.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.